guest is on set, Mr. Anthony James. He is the political leader of the Tobago Liberation Movement, and you heard me right, political leader of the Tobago Liberation Movement. This movement has been in existence since 2000, and Mr. James will give us a little background. Obviously, he is here to announce his contesting, or the party will be contesting, all 15 seats of the upcoming TG election. Mr. James, good morning and welcome.
Very pleasant morning to you, Brother B, and very pleasant morning to my fellow Tobagonians. This is my camera here?
Yes.
Very pleasant morning to you, fellow Tobagonians.
Right. Mr. James, yes, no stranger to the politics. You have been in existence, or the Tobago Liberation Movement have been in existence from 2000. So you're 25 years in existence. And you, so let's talk about, it's not the first time you're contesting an election?
First time.
First time?
First time.
All right, but there was a campaign some years ago leading up to liberating the Tobago people. Let's talk a little bit about that and we get into where we are now.
Well, it's best to answer that question as to why the existence, why the Tobago Liberation Movement come into being. Why the Liberation Movement came into being. Sorry. I was employed at Works, and in that same year, 2000, I had a leaflet. No, I didn't have a leaflet. A guy came and was distributing leaflets, and on the leaflet, it marked African Liberation Day. And as he presented to me, he dropped on the ground, and I looked on the ground and I saw the name there, and I said, "But why not Tobago Liberation? Instead of trying to liberate the whole of Africa from here, we should be liberating Tobago." Of course, we know we have a constitution that we have inherited, which at the time gave to Trinidad 34 seats or 34 votes in the lower house of the parliament. And Tobago had 2 votes. We had 16 government senators at the time, 9 independent senators and 6 opposition. And none of those spots or seats in the Senate gave Tobago, guaranteed Tobago any seat at all. So in the lower house, we are losing 34-2, it's now gone to 39-2. And in the upper house, you have no guaranteed place either. So that who wins Trinidad, Tobago loses, and we all see that Tobago has not been prospering or growing. Our population is fleeing from Tobago and seeking refuge in Trinidad and beyond. The problem is the constitution. We have no power. And that has been so since 1889, when the government in Tobago was closed down with all the institutions. The executive, right in the assembly, was closed down. The legislature of the Tobago House of Assembly was closed down. The judiciary in Tobago was closed down. And all governmental institutions that reported to that Tobago House of Assembly were closed down. And we were made subject to all the institutions, the governmental institutions in Trinidad. Today, Tobago remains a ward. To fix the problem, you have to have constitutional reform. There is no nitpicking around the issue. You have to go directly to the issue. Tobago has to go back to having its own constitution, where we now become sovereign, and every activity in Tobago is now subject and reportable and accountable to the government, to the sovereign government and sovereign people of Tobago. Without a sovereign government, without a sovereign people, if you're not a sovereign people, then you are subjugated. Tobago today remains a ward of Trinidad. I saw the problem and I started to address the situation. I started the campaign, not in 2000, I started the campaign in 1998 is when I started the campaign. Let me quickly say off the bat, the Tobago House of Assembly today is nothing more than a county council. You heard Mr. Frankie a while ago. I was listening to the conversation there and the activities going on in
the reef.
And you can't make any law here. We just, a guy from Trinidad who's up here, an Indian guy who sells musical instruments and so on. He said Tobago is an island prison. He is from Trinidad and living up here and experiencing it. And he described Tobago to me as an island prison. And Tobago is in fact an island prison, really.
Okay. All right. Let's speak rescuing us from the prison, and hence the Tobago Liberation, I don't want to say taking part, but is offering itself as a choice for the next THA.
Well, is the only option, because the other two popular parties, they are counsels of the problem. You have the Tobago Council of the PNM. Observe, that's the name. You don't have the Tobago PNM unless you're putting it in context where you abbreviate it and you mean the Tobago Council, but that's their name. And functionally and practically, they operate as a subsidiary of Trinidad. No, you can't have self-government with a subsidiary of the same entity that is colonizing you or that you are colony to. The TPP, without saying so, is a colony of the UNC. That's functional, that's how they operate. The TOP, from where they come from, I'm not talking about the PDP because all of them have the same history, the same line, I'm getting there also. They are all, let me tell you something. Since A.N.R. Robinson, Hochoy Charles left that bracket of people, there has not emerged amongst that bracket of people a leader that is strong to stand on his or her own. There has not emerged from Asho Jacom right down. They're not strong enough to lead an independent entity in Tobago. So they find themselves now, the UNC is now their savior. It's amazing. The UNC. And we heard on Voice Note and so on that the UNC is giving money to them. We have heard that. And sometimes you see you try to do things secretly, but God is there. And God allow it to be revealed. The fact of the matter in Tobago here, those two parties that are in the Tobago House of Assembly, the
allegiances to
Trinidad.
All right, but let's come now to you being, let me get this. You are contesting 15 seats, the Tobago Liberation Party. Now, is the party registered? Just walk us through, is the EBC aware that you exist? Let's speak to that legal part of it to come to the place where you are going to contest the 15 seats.
We registered since as a political party in 2016.
2016, okay, all right. So let's talk about the candidates that you have. You have already.
We haven't selected candidates of it, but that will be coming. We are contesting all 15 seats. This is very necessary because if we don't, Tobago is going nowhere. Having a next conversation again about some more bills to go back on the Trinidad, where are we going? Well, this is embarrassing. What is going on in Tobago and passing for politics is totally mind-blowing and mind-boggling. You know, that you even have a program now called 116. 116 plus the airspace and the sea space, which make Tobago bigger than Trinidad. According to international law, Tobago is bigger than Trinidad. I want people to understand that. Because international law, they are counting your land, your sea, and your air. And in that regard, we are bigger than Trinidad. You have all this. We came here for going on 500 years now. And up to now, we can't make a single law to regulate our lives. We are best described as squatters. Tobagonians are squatters, and people come in here from Trinidad and beyond and disrespect us. Because we can't make a single law. We are not sovereign. Okay. We have to take a budget. I see now you have jumped on board talking about percentage. This is what the politics of Tobago has become. To be arguing over a percentage somebody else give us. And they're calling themselves politician, chief secretary. I mean, I don't want to go on because sometimes when you say these things, people are embarrassed. Right. Them and their supporters, they're embarrassed. But this is what it is. Okay. We are reduced in Tobago over arguing, haggling over a percentage that comes from somewhere, a percentage of your own. Now, since that idea of percentage came in, Tobago has become more sluggish. Even though you get more money, we have become more sluggish. Because here the thing is, it violates the principles of God. God is saying, as a man sow, so shall he reap. But the constitution, the principle here in Tobago operating, you don't have to sow. You will still reap 4.03, 5%, 6.8%. Those are nothing. Yeah. Money is coming here and people just spending money on themselves, really. It has bred corruption in Tobago.
All right, Mr. James, let's go now to the vision that you are bringing to the people of Tobago to say to them, look, this is the only option that you have as to in taking Tobago forward? Let's speak to.
I've been speaking to that for
Vision 1. Yes. Let's go. What would be your? Why would we choose to vote for you?
Listen to me. From the very first sitting of the Tobago House of Assembly, we will be armed with our motion. In that motion, we declare Tobago as an independent.
Independent.
Tobago is an independent.
So let me get this clear. Wait, Mr. James, take it in. Let me get this clear. So the mission here is to liberate, completely. Give Tobago total freedom from Trinidad?
Of course.
Why is that important? Why is it necessary?
Well, we have to ask ourselves the converse of that. Why is it necessary to not free Tobago from state and governmental control of Trinidad? Why is it not logical? Why is it not desirable to be free? Because it is not the British controlling us now. It is not the Europeans controlling us now, but we are under subjugation. Frankie Torres, representative of Frankie Torres, was just say they're having problems in the reef and they can't make no law. The government is weak. That is what he just said. The government is weak and hapless. And just recently, as last year, December, from all the conversations going on in Tobago, Mr. Hocho Charles called Mr. Orville London after the TOP was whipped 12-0 in 2013. Mr. Charles called Mr. London soon after and told him, let us deal with this whole constitutional matter and so on. Right? And so that they went around all Tobago, having a whole set of conversations, right? Mm-hmm. And as it ended up, and it's instructive too, we must speak to that. At Mr. Hocho Chan's funeral, Dr. Rowley was there. Mm-hmm. And I guess he was pricked in his heart because the bill was at the parliament there and he was loitering where he wasn't doing anything. And he vowed there that he will do something about the quote-unquote Tobago self-government bill, internal self-government, whatever they call it, because I'm not really part of that school of thought, right? And it went to the parliament in December last year. And in it, I hope your eyes are good because I could stretch it across you so you can see, you can read it, so because people may not believe me. The bill is here. The bill is here, right? And you could have made laws to the Tobago House of Assembly in that bill. I have it here. Would have been able to make laws exclusively for a significant amount of items that are now in the 5th schedule that we operate in the Tobago House of Assembly Act, that they supposedly have an executive council for. Because the truth of the matter, most of the policies you see operating in Tobago are still from the government in Trinidad. The House has, listen to me, the Tobago House of Assembly is simply a farce. Right. It is farcical. Okay. You check education for one and so on. Virtually all the policies operating in Tobago are what the government in Trinidad already set down. So I'm saying all of this to say what you really have going on in Tobago is a glorified county council. Okay, good. See? Yeah. So you could have made laws. And the budget would have also, in line 30 here, increased to 6.8% to the THA. Minimum to the THA, 6.8%. One ministry was added, a legal affairs ministry, to facilitate the making of laws. And the TPP currently in office, sworn in to represent the interests of Tobago, carte blanche, rejected the bill. They are not even in parliament, but they were able to get the bill rejected, voted down. All they simply they call their bosses in Trinidad, the UNC, that they were a council of, and asked the UNC not to support it, with the farcical, non-existent reason being, Tobagonians were talking about federation. The TPP you ever heard anybody from the TPP discuss federation? There is only one entity in Tobago that has ever discussed federation between Tobago and Trinidad, and that is the Tobago Liberation Movement.
Very good. Mr. James.
That's how we started out.
Okay.
Next thing, and let me put in this too. Dr. Winston, the great Dr. Winston Murray, that I learned from.
Right.
He also discussed and advocated a federation.
Yeah. All right. Given that you just quoted Dr. Murray, you are calling for total independence. And you're saying that's the only way Tobago can really develop and grow. Let's speak about what is required for us to grow. We have to have a very strong economy. Let's speak about what is required for...
Before we go there, because people always, and it's something that we have to get out of our head. Economy or money is not a qualification to govern myself. To govern myself is my right. Lack of money is not a qualification for somebody else to substitute my right, to substitute my being, to make any law for me or any policy for me or judge my matters. So let us get that out of the way. It is absolute rubbish. I was hearing it yesterday and some guy called in. And it's a propaganda in the space, and it stems from the PNM. Every time Robinson and them discuss the internal self-government and the right to govern themselves, they always tell you how money is like God, who knows the ending from the beginning.
Right.
God, who is everlasting, from everlasting to everlasting, knew that a people would have been here. And he created the island for us to be here, and prophesied in Luke 21, verse 24, that he will send us away captives in every nation of the world. But he knew that we will be here and we will have no money. He sent others away captive to Trinidad, but he put resources in Trinidad so that the Trinidadians can govern themselves. But he put no resources into Tobago.
Well, we do have resources.
But
and this is what I'm coming to.
The whole thing, that whole argument is really, we don't need to, hold on, we don't really need to go there.
All right. But I want to get, Mr. James, stick up it. What I want to get, because time is of the essence. All right, your vision for why people would choose to vote for the Tobago Liberation.
Right.
So one, we have the resources. We have, you spoke about the natural oil and gas we have out there. How do we utilize the resources for our betterment? Let's go there.
Right.
In your view.
Let me explain the independence and not the dependence, because we are not going back under any dependency. We are not remaining dependent. We are becoming undependent. We are becoming independent. See? And if you go on my Facebook page, everybody should be paying attention to my Facebook page. I've publicized everything there, published everything there. What God told me is that the system should be a capital H. A capital H. The two vertical lines of the capital H represent each the state of Tobago and the state of Trinidad. The state of Trinidad will be completely responsible for their own affairs. The state of Tobago will be responsible for our own affairs. In the middle of the H, the crossbar, that horizontal piece that connects us, is where the partnership comes in. There will be a partnership. It is a confederation. It will be a partnership. On that partnership there, that line between the two states, Tobago and Trinidad, or the horizontal of the H, we will share the same currency. The same currency. Because the currency doesn't belong to them. It belongs to us as much as it belongs to them. It's just that we have not been asserting rights in Tobago here. Same currency, freedom of movement, freedom of trade. The mutual interests and assets. We set up mutual intergovernmental committees now to regulate those mutual interests, or like in the energy sector. TSTT in terms of the the interaction between Tobago and Trinidad. TNT because Tobago supplies Trinidad with electricity with that same cable that they used to supply us with. All those interconnection, interrelationship things, we set up intergovernment. That is how we civilize, mature, respect. This is where the conversation in Tobago needs to be. Real conversation from real, mature politicians, brother B. And crucially, for all the young people in Tobago, we'll be playing our sports independent of Trinidad. So immediately, we are having our own national sporting teams here, for the cricketers, for the footballers, the netballers. Everybody has something to look forward to. Life in Tobago will be revived, and concerning the same economy that you are talking about, Tobagonians will become the richest English-speaking people in the Caribbean from day one.
Right.
Once we have exclusive control over our resources, just remember, the resources in Trinidad and Tobago are coming from the sea.
Right.
Tobago is almost 2, 3, 4, 5 times bigger than Trinidad where the sea is concerned. And the resources are coming from there.
All right. When we meet the argument, and we will be confronted. Well, given your vision and what you're outlining, and there's nothing wrong with that. You will have the Trinidad, arm of this relationship would say, look, we have to bust this asset in half. Because let's say we're going with the 11 nautical, the 11 miles between the two islands.
No, and say
So how do we have that conversation to speak to sharing the assets equitably? I didn't say equally, because they had that argument that, look, we are the bigger population, and so therefore, because that's what we base our argument in earning our percentage from the budget.
And that argument, as I said, that argument was flawed from the beginning. That argument came into the mix by Dr. Vanus James and Hocho Charles. It was wrong, and I criticize it from since then, from the very inception. The whole thing about percentage, the argument should have been built along Tobago being determined by international law. Because Tobago is, in fact, we don't live by ourselves. But when we say Tobago, we are not speaking about what bondage, how bondage defines us. We are speaking how we are naturally and freely defined. And Tobago is naturally and freely defined according to international law, land, sea, and air. So that whole percentage and sharing doesn't come in. And people talk about you having a fair share of the budget. How could you have a fair share of the budget by having some 2.4 something percent? The whole thing is just, the whole thing. Do we listen to ourselves? Do we hear back ourselves when we are speaking? A fair share that you can't develop. A fair share that you can do nothing. There's no sharing here. Tobago is yours, and you have to take what is yours. When we have taken what is yours and we left Trinidad with what is theirs, and we establish a partnership, we can now, with what I own legally, legitimately, decide if you need help, I'm going to help you.
Very good.
Because we are one people.
Exactly.
You follow what I'm saying?
All right,
if I am in trouble too, we should be able to help. It's a partnership. God designed the world and his people to function in partnership.
Excellent.
He said, love your neighbor as yourself.
As you love yourself. Mr. James, we got to leave it there this morning.